Good day everyone. So I will continue the report of Group 1 about Lesson 2. Obtain and maintain business tools required to support workplace activities. As each tool is to be monitored and controlled, it is logical that the use of the tool must be also be monitored for various reasons, and it is important to know who has the tool so that it can be located should the need arrive. If the toll is to be used for a set period, there needs to be process that should be followed to get the toll back. So if we use a toll, we must be responsible. Get the toll then back it to their location so the person who want to use it too, she can find it easily. Therefore, the business needs a procedure to allocate the toll to a user and record the date or time that is expected back, just for a book in a library. There will be a person or people that have the authority to release the asset and maintain the business records. The business will need documentation to record the movement of the toll, the allocation, and return. There will also be some form of documentation to the user so they know when the asset is to be returned. The document could be a piece of paper with the relevant details, or it could be an email. There is also the return process. For some tools, there will be procedures that need to be followed when the tool is returned. In some cases, a record of usage will determine maintenance requirements. For example, maintenance for a motor car is determined by the distance driven or by a predetermined time period. Period is 6 months, for example, and then photocopiers will need a service after a predetermined number of copies have been done. Printers also have similar requirements. Batteries may need to be checked for recharge, and if they are rechargeable, they may need to be recharged. Camera memory cards may need to be erased in preparation for next use. Portable computers may also need to be recharged ready for next use. There should be an inspection for damage, abnormal wear and tear, and the impact of the future life of the tool. For some tools, a return checklist is necessary to ensure that the tool will be ready for the next user. Like rosters, this determines who can have the tool, ensure the tool if available. Resolves conflict should this arise due to more than one person requiring the tool on the same day. Rosters allow a planning process for access to the tool, who will have it on a specific date. It allows a priority system if there is a conflict, and allows people to plan where there is flexibility. It also ensures the customers can be looked after correctly. If a customer has asked for a few photographs, the business can be certain that the camera will be available because there is a booking in the register. Number 2. Damage. Any damage to a tool must be recorded. Action to be taken to repair damaged tool may be some urgency if the damage is significant. Consideration as to cause of damage and cost. So what are the business rules about damage to a tool? The damage can be from normal use. Example, a camera is dropped accidentally. The damage can be from misuse also. Example, a phone is thrown against a wall, and frustrations. The damage needs to be tracked so that appropriate action can be taken. Perhaps an incident report will be required. There may be some urgency as to repair, as the tool may not be usable until it's repaired. Also, there is always the issues of repair or replace. In some cases, The other will be easy as the costs are obvious, but other cases it may not be clear. Who has the toll? The business will need to know who has the toll. So management can be certain of its location and the current person responsible. But a usage history is also useful to determine if the toll is a worthwhile asset. A toll that is not used may need to be replaced or simply deleted as there is no longer a need to support ownership of a toll. Next topic is about store business tolls in accordance with enterprise procedures and to reduce theft and fraudulent activity. Storage. Storage should consider if the toll has special storage requirements. Conflict between easy access and flexibility compared with control and security. Storage must be some level of security in some storage location. And if the tolls are valuable and important to the operation of the business, there will need to be control over who has access. However, access controls remove business flexibility and inconvenience to people who want to get the toll quickly with a minimum of effort. There is a cost in terms of time as toll access will take longer. There is also the cost of the security system. This cost must be compared to losses involved. Next is security tools. The simplest tool is a document that controls the use and access to the tool. The CPS is a book that records all the relevant information and has to be signed and access and use of the tool. Other methods of security include a selection of the following, like swipe card access, password, security cameras, and police checks. Employment contract, it ensures that the staff understand importance of issues. Can also specify special considerations regarding employment before they commence work, and identify and advise steps of consequences of breaking the rule. These agreements can include details that are not part of a standard employment contract. Customers confidentially should be considered rules about internet and email use, acknowledgement of consequences of breaking the rules. Privacy. Terms in this section determine the nature of the information that an employee can publish about the business and the guests of the business. A modern operation may consider the details about the behavior and characteristics of guests. This is especially important if celebrities stay at the establishment. In privacy, personal employee details must not be published, and customer details, which may include their behavior, should also be considered company information. The company information is need to be kept secret. Internet. If internet access is normally a part of the employee's duties, it may be relevant to state the allowable internet use that is allowed by an employee. This could include the amount of time that is spent on private use, such as personal email, accessing non-business related sites, the type of material that is allowed to be viewed on the computer, and an agreement that the employee will not attempt to break any controls that are present. The internet can consume employment and other company resources. Some sites present dangers from viruses and other dangerous software. The business needs to set and communicate rules about internet use, and there are some programs and procedures that a business can implement to restrict access to particular sites.
Lockable access. Locks can be used to prevent access and to enhance the possibility of the tool being available for later use. Rooms can be locked and keys made available to a limited number of people to control access. Cabinets and drawers can also be locked for the same reason. Laptop computers can be locked with cables to disk to inhibit theft and misuse. So we have different things that need to be locked for the safety of our access and for the safety of our own. There are a lot of things that need to be locked, like computers. Diba ang computers need mo sa gayud butangan ng lock so that the important details or important files or information you put in computer will not be wasted or missing. At need din natin gumamit ng lock so that the person that can use the computer or any other gadget will not be misused or will not be used of other. Locks can be of the traditional type with a metal key and door or padlock. For greater control, a swipe card system can limit access and record who has access. It becomes a higher level of difficulty to gain undetected access. Higher levels involve fingerprint identification, such as in common with laptops. Higher level of control can be achieved with retina scans, facial recognition, voice prints, or a combination of this method. So, lahi-lahi sa ang traditional types. Yaoy iban metal key and door or padlock. So, there are a lot of things or type ng locks or padlocks. Yaoy sab igo na siya swipe sa door or dali da bitaw siya dali da siya ma-access. Yaoy sab magamit siya ng mata. Amo yan siya retina scans and facial recognition. Yaoy sab magamit ng voice prints and combination of the method. Each of these controls has benefits and costs. Management will need to consider the level of control that is required and determine the level of resources that will be required to install and maintain the system to a level to provide the required security level. It is silly to implement a system of swipe card access and never check on who is actually accessing the tools. So, kada isa nan ini yaon say benefits or cost. Kinahanglan mo isab ini magamit para ang imong mga files or important details or important nimo na kinahanglan or gamiton mas secured siya kaya oy lock. Audits. An audit can mean many things. In this context, an audit is the assessment of the processes that are in place on how the business tools are monitored, controlled, and used. Is the current process workable? How can it be improved? Is the process recording all the required information, or have people become lazy or taken shortcuts that preclude the collection of the required information? So, sa audit isab, siya ang mag-monitor o mag-control ng mga uses of the processes ng business tools. Are the training manuals and requirements still relevant? Have the requirements been changed to suit the new models? Are the current business tools relevant to the business operations? The audit process can be the start of a sequence of events that may result in retaining, replacing, or disposing of the asset. A tool that has not been accessed for an unreasonable period may be a sign that the tool is no longer valuable to the business. So kung maglaom kita na retaining, replacing, or disposing of the asset, dili na gid yun siya pwede, or unreasonable period na dili na siya sulod sa business, or di na siya maka-access sa business na iya process. A camera may only be used twice a year to capture photographs to be used to update the website. So, kita na mga Pilipino kinahanglan sa gayud, or even other people in other country, kinahanglan sa gayud maggamit ng photographs para updated sa website or any other computers na gamiton. If the cameras has remained stagnant and inactive for 2 years, this may be a sign the camera is no longer necessary as mobile phones are being used. So, ini siya, kung dili na siya inactive for 2 years, maybe the sign na camera na dili na gid siya magamit or necessary as a mobile phones. It may also be a sign the website has not been used to update, and this may be another area for investigation. So, ang website na dili na maka-update is makakuha na siya sa another area for investigation. The audit should also confirm that all relevant documentations for each business tool is present and located in the correct location. So, kinahanglan pag mag-audit ka, kinahanglan imo i-confirm kung hain ang mga documents or each business tools na present sa located area or location. Kinahanglan mo siya i-specific or specify mo ang relevant documents kung hain dapit ang location gayon, as well as the individual tool and the associated support items, manuals, are an important factors in the efficient use of the tool. Being able to find the documentations should the need arise is important. Usually, this is a two-person or more process to ensure that the audit report is accurate and mistakes or false data has not been entered to hide deficiencies in the system. So, ini siya, kinahanglan may mga two-person or more process para mag-ensure na waray mistakes na mahitabo or maka-entered sa system. If both sign, they both agree to the details, and this complicates or reduce the possibility of fraud or innocent mistakes occurring. So, kung ang both sides or both company or individuals, they signed or agree the details, there are possibilities that of fraud or innocent mistakes occurring. The audit process should be a standard in management process and not seen as an exemption. Although it is impossible to dictate time period for this process for every business, it would be highly unlikely that the time between audits is no longer than 1 year. Stock takes. A periodical stock takes can be performed on consumable resources to ensure there are sufficient resources to meet the operational needs. A brochure that shows the possible dishes for functions is useless if they are not available because the supply has been distributed and not reordered. So, paglaong kita ng stock takes, paglaong stock, yaon na mga kuan is dili na stock siya tapos ya na magamit. Dugay na siya na ya gamit, ya stock siya. Dili siya pwede or ma-perform siya pero ma-consume ang resources o possible dishes na maka-function is useless na because they are able to supply and distributed and not reordered. So, kung mag-supply ka ng iyong yaka-stock na daan siya, so, it is possible na ang dishes function is useless dagi hapon kung kintahay mag-ordered ka or maka-distribute ka, dili gihapon siya makakuan kay ang supply na imo i-distribute dili sa siya reordered. Batteries are another item that are often in short supply, making the associated tool useless. A regular stock take of the identified items should ensure that there are sufficient levels of the resource available and also ensure that over-ordering does not occur where there are several thousand brochures on hand when the brochure is changed and the current stock becomes worthless. A stock list of consumable items is important when there is a change of business tools. So, kinahanglan ang stock list, consume guide yon siya kay important yon siya para when there is consumable items, ma-utro or mabayluhan para sa business tools. Or makita nila ang stock for kung okay pa ba yaon or di na, at least mabago nila or mapulihan nila ng bago na business tools. It has been known for people to order toner cartridges for a photocopier that is to be or has been replaced. In some cases, the item can be returned, which involves time and effort in fixing a problem that could have been easily avoided had there been sufficient planning and communication within the business. Different items may have a different stock take period. Batteries, SIM cards, memory sticks, and the similar that are easily misplaced, damaged in normal use, or consumed may need to be checked every 2 weeks. Brochures, information pages, toner cartridges, and other similar consumable may be checked once a month, while a complete stock take of all items is done once a year. There are no concrete rules that can be applied. It is matter of management determining a process that needs or meets the needs of the operation and that does not consume a reasonable level of resources. So, kung ang order mo na toner, cartridges, kung may photocopy or may kapareho, pwede siya mapalitan. Pwede siya mabayluhan. Then, maka-involve siya ng time ug effort para ma-fix ang problem na ila paga handle or ila paga process or need nila need nila i-fix para ma-avoid ang sufficient planning and communication within the business. Forms are normally compiled in alphabetical order and can be by section. Rather than the traditional paper approach, tablet PCs may be used. The stock list could have the number on hand so that all is required is a tick to verify that the asset, associated equipment, documentations is present. Where there is a higher degree of security required, a stock take is performed in pairs to ensure that there are no mistakes in the data entered or counting the both sign the stock take sheet. If only one person counts and records, there is an opportunity to lie and falsity the details. Again, much depends on the size of the business because if the owner is doing the stock take, there is no need for a second person to check the data. Information. Information is an important business tool in a modern organization. Like the other tools, it needs protection from unauthorized use and access. It needs maintenance as information that is old or outdated may be useless and even dangerous. Assume that a recipe that did not have peanuts is changed to have these ingredients. A waiter is asked if there are peanuts and as the same questions has been asked before. The confident answer is no. Unfortunately, the dish has changed and the person with allergies consume the dish and dies. Ang impormasyon ay mahalagang bagay sa isang modernong organisasyon. Tulad ng iba, kinakailangan itong protektahan mula sa hindi otorisadong paggamit at pag-access. Kinakailangan din itong mapanatili dahil kung walang impormasyon, maaaring magdudulot ito ng mapanganib sa ibang tao at maaari ding sa iyo. Perhaps this is a little overdramatic, but certainly not an impossible situation. Other scenarios could be included buying goods from the wrong supplier and paying too much because prices have not been updated. Buying the wrong goods, Roma instead of cherry tomatoes because the order requirements have changed, but these have not been recorded in the system. Sending accounts to the wrong address because the client's details have not been updated. And of course, there are many others. So, kung kinahanglan mo ng mag-buy ng foods or things na gusto mo, you need to say the clients and ask the details para updated ka kung hain siya dapit or hain ang iya address para at the same time ma-deliver mo pag sakto or kinahanglan mo sab mag-update kay inkintahay kung mag-back out siya or dili siya makakuanan price, at least updated ka. Information has a shelf life aspect or age characteristics. It may be easy to see that a mobile telephone is old and has limited functionality, but it is virtually impossible to determine without the details that a piece of information is old. A person can look at a price list of fruit and vegetables and determine which are incorrect because they are at the market last week and know the prices. It is impossible to look at the price on a screen and usually identify it as old without that additional insight. System can include metadata to meet this need. Metadata is data about the data. In the case of an ingredient price, the metadata could be the last date and time the data was updated, or who did the updating. This provides some assurance on the quality of the data. A price that had not been updated for a year should be treated with suspicion, while a price that was updated yesterday can be relied upon with some confidence. Just as with other tools, there is an access issue. Privacy laws and commercial consideration mandate that people that are able to view certain information must be controlled or limited. In most cases, privacy laws allow only people with a valid reason for accessing the information to be allowed to do so. Managers may have a legitimate business reason to view the personal details of a staff member, but it is most unlikely that a colleague will be able to provide an acceptable justification. Thinking that a coworker is attractive and wanting to invite them on a date is not a sound reason to access their personal details. So, in privacy laws and commercial consideration, isab, kinahanglan limited da ang maka-view or makakuha ng information. Kung valid ng information, imo reason, amo day ma-allowed na maka-access. Ug need mo isab makikistorya sa manager kung pwede maka-view ng personal details sa staff member. Pero kung dili valid ang imo reason, dili ko gid makakuha ng information kay dili sila basta-basta maghatag ng information about sa ilang mga staff member if dili valid ang imo reason kay may ila privacy na pagatuman. It therefore follows that access to an organization's information must have the same access, limitations, and restrictions as other business tools, and many of the control techniques can be equally applied to information access. Locked rooms can hold paper or computer information. Passwords can restrict access to the computer. The program of the file on the computer security cameras can survey the area to monitor access information, can be signed in and out, and responsibility attached to its use. There are limitations and restrictions in the business tools. So there are many techniques that can applied in business tools. A further challenge is that information can be duplicated, which is impossible with all of the other tools. When considering access to information, it is not only access to the information, but there must also be restrictions or printing, copying, and email access. There have been situations where staff have printed customer lists or emailed confidential information to competitors. So, kinahanglan kung magkuha ka ng information, yaoy dapat imo duplicate kay para kintahay kung may mag-copy ng imo information or email access, at least yaoy imo mahipakita na original na imo paghimo. It become even more interesting because access of information is often time sensitive and delay can hinder the operation of the business. Assume that a form requires the company number. This is public information generally and does not require any restriction. If the user cannot get the information, the form cannot be processed, and this may produce delays. With most business tools, restrictions relate to a class of tools. All cameras are controlled. When considering information, there are various categories with number of users sufficient An internal website, an intranet, is an excellent tool to control access. In the case of a small business with a limited number of users, the people that do access the company information can know it all because they have a valid reason to do so. Legal implication, where information is disclosed, various privacy acts and control can impose penalties for the business and the individual for acts that breach the act. Computer programs have had to be changed to hide information about guests staying in a hotel as it was deemed that not all employees needed to see the guest telephone number. So, kinahanglan kung may mag-check-in sa hotel, ang tanan employees sayod na dili pwede ihatag an information or dili basta-basta maghatag ng information about sa mga guest. Kanaman, giutroyaon nila to hide the information of the guest staying in the hotel. Kay basin may magkuha na kila niya or may magkuha ng mga number or address, ipinagbabawal na bigyan or hindi otorisado ng manager nila. Legal implication is also the result or consequences of being involved in something according to the laws. How do a hotel reservation works? A hotel reservation system works by processing secure online reservation made through a hotel's website. The data is then passed onto a back-end system which can be accessed by hotels to manage bookings. Other features may come with it. For example, the automation of reservation confirmation emails. Small hotel managers and owners recognize that technology is the key to growing business and increasing their bookings over time. To sell rooms to capacity and to appeal to a global audience, a hotel reservation system is required. However, it can be intimidating to select a system, particularly when so many are designed for large hotel operations and chains. In addition to allowing guests to book online directly, this reservation system can also provide hotel operations with additional resources. For example, a channel manager may be a part of the reservation system, giving hotel operators the chance to distribute their products and leave availability simultaneously to their entire network of online agents. Why do we need a reservation system? A hotel reservation system is a necessity for today's accommodation providers, both large and small. An increasing number of travelers are relying solely on online reservation in order to book their accommodations, and without this capability, you will lose a significant amount of business. Other reasons to consider investing in hotel reservation systems include it gives you an advantage over your competitors. There are still many small hotels today that do not have online bookings capabilities. Less people are staying at those locations, and you can get the competitive edge with an online booking system. It improves your efficiency as a business. Your availability is updated immediately upon receiving a reservation, not only in your own system, but across all of your channels. You will save time, administrative tasks, while also minimizing the risk of overbooking the rooms at your property.